never understood why my dad sat by the front window every night, until the day he stopped. Growing up, there was always a wooden chair next to the living room window that faced our street. And almost every night after dinner, my dad would pull that chair up to the window and sit there quietly. Sometimes he had a cup of tea. Sometimes the TV was on behind him. But his eyes were always on the street outside. As a kid, I never questioned it. Parents have their weird little habits, and that just seemed like one of his. But when I got older, I started noticing how consistent it was. 9 o'clock, the chair moved to the window. 9:30, he was sitting there. 10, still there. If I walked past the living room, he'd smile at me. But most of the time, he was just watching the quiet road outside. One night, when I was about 16, I finally asked him, "Dad, why do you always sit by that window?" He paused for a moment like he hadn't expected the question. Then he shrugged and said, "I just like the view," which honestly didn't make much sense. Our street wasn't special. Just a quiet road with a few streetlights and the occasional car. So I didn't think much about it after that. Life got busy. I went to college in another city, started my own routine, and home slowly became a place I only visited during holidays. But every time I came back, that chair was still there. And every night, my dad was still sitting in it. Sometimes we'd talk while he sat there. Other times we'd just sit quietly in the same room. At the time, those moments felt ordinary. Looking back now, they were probably more important than I realized. Then one winter evening during my last year of college, my mom called me. She told me my dad had suddenly felt dizzy at work and had been taken to the hospital. It wasn't something life-threatening, but the doctors wanted to keep him overnight. I drove home that same night. When I walked into the house, the first thing I noticed was the living room. The chair by the window was still there, but it was empty. The next morning, we visited him at the hospital. He looked tired but was joking with the nurses like everything was fine. After a few tests, the doctor said his blood pressure had been unstable and he needed to slow down a bit. A few days later, he came home, and that night after dinner, I watched him walk into the living room and pull the chair back to its usual spot by the window, like nothing had changed. He sat down and looked out at the street again. That moment made me curious in a way I hadn't been before. So I sat down on the couch and asked him again, "Dad, what are you actually looking for out there every night?" This time he didn't brush it off. He kept looking at the street for a few seconds before speaking. "Do you remember when you started high school?" he asked. I nodded. "That first year, you started coming home late sometimes. Study groups, friends, things like that." I laughed a little. "Yeah, I remember." He nodded slowly. "Well, the first time you came home late, I looked out this window and realized something." "What?" I asked. He tapped the armrest of the chair. "I realized I didn't know where you were anymore." His voice wasn't sad, just thoughtful. When kids are little, parents know everything. But one day, that changes. He looked at the streetlight outside. "So that night I sat here, just waiting to see you turn the corner." He smiled faintly. "When I saw you walking up the street, I felt this wave of relief. So the next night, I sat here again. And the night after that, I looked at him and said, 'But I wasn't even coming home late most nights.'" He nodded. "I know." Then he said something I'll never forget. "Parents don't wait by windows because they expect something bad. They wait because seeing you come home safe is the best part of their day." Years later, after I graduated and moved away, my visits home became less frequent. But whenever I came back, the routine was always the same. Dinner, a little conversation, then my dad moving the chair to the window, until one visit when I walked into the living room, and the chair wasn't there anymore. It was pushed back against the wall. My mom noticed me looking and said gently, "Your dad stopped sitting there a few weeks ago." "Why?" I asked. She smiled softly. "Because you're not the one coming home anymore." That night around 9:30, my younger brother walked through the front door after work, and I saw my dad instinctively glance toward the window. Not sitting there anymore, but still checking, still making sure someone he loved had made it home. And that's when I realized something. Sometimes love doesn't look like big speeches or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it just looks like a quiet chair by a window and someone patiently waiting to see you walk through the door.